I'm going to file a lawsuit. Well, it's 3 weeks now, and still no lawsuit.
Why are you so interested in keeping up with me, Keith? You don't have a job? I mean, don't you have a life? I mean, I'm gonna give you one example, okay?
Yeah, and guys, let's stick to the incident. I understand the personal attacks. You know, you guys want to jab each other, but let's just stick to Sandy Hook. But go ahead, Mr. Halbig.
Let me just give you one fact, okay? Let's just start with this one, okay? I'm sure Keith will have the answer. How in the world can the public information officer for the Connecticut State Police, in an interview with Scott Pelley from 60 Minutes, this is an interview that's seen worldwide, where Scott Pelley simply asked a question. It must have been a horrific scene when you were inside the Sandy Hook school. And what does Paul Vann say? Yes, it was. It was unbelievable. And Scott Pelley says, where was the shooter? Guess what your lieutenant says? He was found in the hallway. Now, there is the spokesperson. This is a man who threatens every American who gives out misinformation, that if you, on the social network, if you provide misinformation, that you can be prosecuted. Here is a lieutenant from the Connecticut Police. He is the spokesperson, and he looks at Scott Pelley in the eyes, and he said the shooter was found in the hallway. And then when you look at the Danbury Studensky report, the final 7,000 pages, every time, whether it's crime scene technologists or anyone else in their report, whether it's a policeman, Connecticut, or the Newtown, they say the body of Adam Lanza was found in classroom 10. So now, why would Vans lie, Keith?
Hello?
Yep, go ahead, Keith. Did you hear that question?
Yeah, okay. What he specific? Okay, Mr. Halbig likes to add words to things. He was found in the hallway, Mr. Halbig says. Well, what he specifically says.
Van said that, not Halbig said that.
No, I know, but he said it was a very short reply in the hall. It was outside. I saw the interview. Yes. Okay. So what does that mean? If you look at the report, it says that the hallway consists of. Have you ever heard of like the North Hall, the South Hall? The hall consists of classrooms 8, 10, blah blah blah, so on and so forth. So that's a specific part of the building, the hall, okay, which consists of room 10. Yes, if you look at where Adam Lanza's body is found, where you see the blood and you see the door, who knows? Maybe his body was half in the classroom, half out. Maybe Mr. Vance Lieutenant Vance was given bad information. But really, I mean, is that reason to believe that this was a hoax? I mean,
no, he observed it. Listen,
who knows if that was told to him, or if he saw it
with the
specifically?
facts and stay with the words. No opinions. When Van says on Scott Pelley, he says, I saw the shooter's body in the hallway. It's not halfway into the classroom.
Did you just say that? Did you just say that the reporter says, where did you see him, or did you say, where was the shooter found?
Where was the shooter's body found? He says it was found in the hallway, not a classroom, not halfway in. See, you're twisting everything. You can't admit that a Connecticut police officer is lying.
You're the one who said that Pena was in a classroom and said that he found multiple weapons, including long rifles and shotguns. That's not where he said that. He came out of the classroom and he was talking to other units.
Stay with Vans. Let's stay Vans. Let's clear that up for Rob, okay? And all the people that are going to be listening on this on Sunday. Yeah. Let's clear this up. Is Lieutenant Vance lying or not? He's telling Scott Pelley, 60 Minutes.
You're saying that he's lying, or did he get his information wrong? There's a big difference.
No, he said, Scott Pelley said, what did the scene look like? And Vance responded, it was horrific. That means he was inside the school, and when he's asked the question, where was the shooter's body? Vance replies, it was in the hallway. Stay focused, Keith.
Well, let's move on to I agree. Let's move on. Okay. Let's move on to another topic, and this is one I'll bring up. Two things. One is the squad car video. They claim in the report that they were evacuating 400 kids out of this school, and the squad car's right there, and you don't see anybody coming through. Now, maybe and this is on the film, we need to talk about Sandy Hook. Maybe the filmmakers edited that part out. I don't know. I think they would have shown kids if they saw them. But Keith, and then also you have the officers setting up a lunch table on top of the squad car, eating lunch during this scene. Do you think that's a normal response to this? Like, police officers are going to, hey, let's go get lunch now, you know? What do you think of that?
Normal response for, well, people have to eat. Yeah.
I know people have to eat.
I mean, I don't see. I mean, you know, Mr. Halbig makes a big deal about that, and he also makes a big deal about, you know, priority for porta potties, when he doesn't even stop to consider that we're talking about a crime scene. You're not going to have people, you know, spreading their DNA behind the back of the school or going into the, you know, restrooms there, which is an active crime scene. And they bring these porta potty. You know, he says priorities for porta potties. They didn't come until like 11 o'clock hour. Okay, so I can see a big reason why they would need to have porta potties there and food. Okay, so, I mean, so they had food there. What does that prove to me? I mean, to most people, and I don't see that as even an issue. I mean, there's so many other things which they claim out there that we could talk about.
Sure. Okay.
What answer do you want me to give you? I mean, people had to eat.
Okay. No, that's fair. That's fair. They just seem to be very nonchalant about their activities at the time. What about the video at the schoolhouse that looks like people going in and out of the schoolhouse and just walking around aimlessly, including one of the guys in the blue coat who is supposedly had kids at his house at that time?
Well, you're talking about the fire station, which was
right.
A clever little editing thing, and you can look at the top corner, left-hand corner, where you see a silver car or a silver van.
Oh, I know. It does. They loop it. Yeah, I know. I know, but you see people going out one door and going back into the front door. And then it's looped.
Well,
yes, it is looped.
The front door. I mean, you can't see the front door from that from that angle. You can't see that they're entering in there. They're going around the building. I mean, what are they supposed to do? I mean, what kind of activities are they supposed to engage in? You see one guy walking around. Okay, so I mean, I can't get into that guy's head. I do know that Mr. Halbig's associate, Professor Fetzer, made a big deal about the sign-in sign, saying that this was evidence that it was a drill. Saying, well, why would they have a sign-in sign on the day of this shooting? Why would they have that where everybody must check in? That sounds like a drill to me. Well, that sign wasn't brought in until the 18th, I believe it was, or the following Monday, where that's the notorious video where you see Gene Rosen in the background and says everybody must check in. So there's no evidence that there was any sign there on the 14th, any sign that said everybody must check in. They also talk about these ID cards on lanyards. There's an explanation for that. That's accountability software. There was a company called Salamander Technologies, which even talks about it. They said that we provided we provided these ID cards for the days that after the shooting took place, because you don't want people walking around. They're ID cards, and they've got like a chip on them, so that I mean, you have to go in there and say, well, I'm so and so, I'm a parent, or I'm a reporter, or something like that. They give you an ID card which will track your movements, which makes sense. I mean, it really does make sense. So I mean, there's an explanation for pretty much everything. And, if there's something out there that sounds compelling, we research it, my friend and I, C.W. Wade, and we either give an answer to the question, or we address the topic, or we debunk the claim. I hate that word debunking, because I really do hate the word debunking, but I mean, it really fits, because a lot of these things are just ludicrous, these claims that are being made out there.
All right. Mr. Halbig, do you have any response to anything we were just talking about?
Well, let's go back with what you said about the food. If you recall, you saw it on the hood of Master Sergeant Davis's car. Rob, I want you to picture this. They actually carry all those bananas. Now think about it. Who went shopping for bananas? You know how picky people are when they pick out their bananas at the store? Somebody, while there are 20 children shot 3 to 11 times, teacher shot 3 to 11 times. Somebody goes shopping for bananas, sub sandwiches, Doritos, Gatorade, chips, and they bring it back to the crime scene. And that's not it. They don't eat lunch out there in the parking lot. They actually took the food. If Keith will look, they took the food and had lunch inside the school. Now that's a crime scene. Who in the hell is going to eat lunch where children's dead body fluids, blood spatter, brain tissues, they're all over the school? And you talk about porta potties? Look at the picture that the crime scene photographer took inside the school. There is one picture with 7 urinals, 9 toilet stalls, brand new. And they have to order porta potties? I mean, you know what?
I mean,
all you have, can I speak? All you have to do is use a little common sense. And here's the thing, Keith, that you don't understand. For 17 months, I simply asked simple questions using the Connecticut Freedom of Information Act, and the questions that we asked, such as porta potties, who ordered them? Who was the incident commander? When were they ordered? How were they paid for? These are taxpayer dollars. For 17 months, somebody can't answer the question who ordered porta potties? And then, who's the incident commander? Nobody has yet to tell me that. And why no trauma helicopters? And please don't tell me they were all dead. And why would you not ever allow any of the paramedics and EMTs inside that school? And who declared them all dead within 10 minutes, Keith? Dear God, I'm asking these questions using the Connecticut Freedom of Information Act, and for 17 months, they have refused to answer those questions. And the last one I'm going to tell you, to find out whether the school works or not, since I was a principal, I hope you check that out. You can contact anybody on my resume, they'll tell you, and you can look at my evaluations if you like. But here's the question. I requested the work order submitted by the school principal, Dawn Hochsprung, the assistant principal, or the head custodian from March the 1st through December 13th, 2012. What that will show me and everyone in this event, whether the school was operating or not, because in the summertime, Keith, is when we principals, we get the school ready for the next year. For 17 months, what a simple question, and they refuse to answer it. Go ahead, it's yours.
Keith, you there?
You know, your 16 questions that.
No, I'm not talking about the 16 questions. I'm talking about what I just said. Why would you take food?
Okay, well, you asked, for instance, you asked, I mean, you said a lot of things there. I mean, which one do you want me to address? I mean, the one that strikes out to me, you said, who's declared them dead? And you're talking about
porta potties.
Hey, oh. Okay.
Start with the porta potties. They started by the
what is the big conspiracy, the porta potty conspiracy theory there? Because we don't know the name of the company that provided the porta potties. You know, what is the conspiracy? Tell me what you're going to prove on the witness stand here with that.
Well, number one, nobody picks up the phone to call the trauma helicopters, but they pick up the phone to call porta potties.
Let's talk about the helicopters. Let's talk about the helicopters. If you go back to, I believe, 2009, 2010, the last mass casualty incident in Connecticut was the Hartford Brewery, or the bottling company there. And there's a couple news articles from that era that talk about that helicopters were standing by. This was a mass casualty with, I believe, 9 deaths. Helicopters were standing by, but they were not used because they figured they could transport the victims easier by ambulance. And there's a lot of considerations when we're talking about helicopters. There's a noise factor, there's wind and noise factor. I mean, you've got to remember that they didn't discount the possibility of a second shooter until the next day, okay? And it was much quicker to get bodies out, to get people transported to the hospital by ambulance or by any other means than through this helicopter. And you keep saying, you know, you can only take like 1 or 2 victims in that helicopter anyway. From the research that I've done, I've talked to some people. I don't have that at my fingertips, so I'm sorry, but I mean, if this becomes a big issue, I will go into it in more depth. But I mean, this is the thing, Mr. Halvik, is you present yourself as the source of authority on all this stuff. I don't. You see, I try to back up everything that I say with source material, whether it's an expert or whether it's something online, whether it's an article or an official document from some kind of organization that deals in these things. But you see, the problem is that we're supposed to just believe everything that you say. And you keep saying, well, why aren't there lawsuits? Well, it's framed from the premise that they did something wrong, that the cops did something wrong, or The procedure wasn't followed.